like your head's
So
still
our head's
cut
cut
off.
off again.
Okay, back up.
Why is that?
Well, hold on, stay just like that. You just stay like that because, and you watch it, okay?
It's like it needs to be that way, not actually back.
Uh-huh.
We had a good, but it's like the camera needs to be.
Oh, angled up a tad.
Yeah.
Okay, good call. Like that. It's that
Yeah,
conversation.
keep going.
Just like that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more because it went back down.
Like that.
There you go.
Okay, good point.
And then see where you're at.
Just like that. Yeah, good point. It
Good.
wasn't back. It was just
Oh,
angled.
see, now we can even see the hole.
Yeah. Good job.
That thing.
Okay, you ready? Okay. You ready? Okay. Hey guys, I'm here with Deb Doughty, sales and personal empowerment coach, and creator of the program How to Empower Yourself and Energize Your Business. Deb, thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I am looking forward to this because, I know you do a lot of coaching with people. I know that, when I talk to people, they are telling me a few things. They're telling me that they are overwhelmed. They're telling me that they don't have enough time to get stuff done in a day. They're telling me, and these are people, probably like people who are watching, entrepreneurs, business people. And then there's also on the personal side, right? Where people are just crammed, I call it red line living, where they're just kind of crammed into, like a car, everything is just so crammed into doing stuff that they don't really feel like they have enough time to breathe and to do some of these things. And I know you talk a lot about empowering yourself and energizing your business and all of that kind of good stuff. Tell us, just for people who may or may not have seen you or talked to you before, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get started? What kind of got you down this road? Give us a feel so we can get an understanding as to who you are.
Sure. Well, actually, it started with my childhood.
Okay.
I grew up very independent. I was almost really what you would call a latchkey kid.
Right.
My mom was a single mom for up until I was about 16 years old.
Okay.
And I had to learn to do things very quickly. I had to learn to adapt. I had to learn to do things myself, but also ask for help from others that could actually help me.
Right.
And then when I finished school, I was going to college, and I was recruited actually by the Walmart Corporation. So I went right into management with them and climbed the corporate ladder.
Right.
Very young professional. Then at the time also was married and had 2 kids. And I'd love to actually tell you that I had that fairy tale happily ever after, but I didn't.
Okay.
The fact is actually I was married for a very long time.
Right.
And the marriage ended with a lot of devastation, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, emotional, mental abuse, those types of things. And having 2 daughters, I still had to be able to be their mentor. Over the years, I've worked with many different women from corporate executives that do suffer from burnout, people who are just busy entrepreneurs that just feel like they have to be out everywhere doing everything, trying to be all things to all people, where really the biggest thing is they've got to understand, I think, that bridging the gap between really what is missing is having true fulfillment in their life. So what I do is I find that I can come to the table through personal experience, personal pain as well, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. I was able to build and sustain my own business around all those years. And also I was able to be victorious and not become a victim to my circumstances. So I can speak it. I can speak the language. I can offer other women and entrepreneurs just, hope. And I think a lot of times that is what people are missing, is really hope.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because, you talk about hope, you talk about just being able to be a beacon, and being out there. Okay, so that's kind of your story, gives people a little feel as to where you're coming from and what it is that you're doing. What is it that, if there's somebody on here who's listening right now and saying, hey, listen, what can I expect? I know we're going to talk today a little bit about alignment and getting into alignment and how people get out of alignment and some of the things. So we've got some good stuff there. But what is it that people listening here right now can expect to get just in interfacing with you? You do presentations. how are their lives going to be better? That's, I guess, the question.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have over 25 years in sales and marketing.
Okay, it's a good start.
I would
Yeah,
hope so.
yeah.
And the other thing really is that leading the people that I've had to lead over the years, I probably really have led at least, and this is really no joke,
Right.
over at least 1,000 different.
Sure.
Majority of them have been women.
Sure. Just
Some
fine.
men,
Right.
but you know. What they can expect is I can help them live from a platform of peace.
Right.
Because my true vision is to be a voice and a beacon for successful businesswomen
Okay.
and the men who love them, of
Right,
course,
right.
and have them have the true balance in their life that they long for,
Right.
and sometimes are afraid to actually tell other people or ask for that help,
Right.
and also to be able to help them live from creating a legacy for their
Right,
life
right.
and not just living the life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many women I find are out of balance,
Mm-hmm.
and what I can do is give them the strategies, the ways to work in balance,
Mm-hmm.
to have the harmony that they want. Because so many really out there women want to have it all.
Right.
Right? We want it all, we want to be it all. But the truth of the matter is, if we constantly do that,
Mm-hmm.
we deplete ourselves. We actually lose ourselves in the
Right,
process
right.
because we're moms, we're business owners, we're
Right.
sisters, we're wives, you
Right.
know, whatever. We're
Right.
community leaders. But a lot of times they lose who the true core of their being is.
Right.
So I help them kind of refigure that out
Okay.
and how to really empower themselves
Right.
to energize their business. Because guess what? John Maxwell always says, you will have a private breakthrough before you can ever have a public breakthrough.
That's exactly
so
right.
we can't have really true success in business, I
Right,
find,
right.
if we don't have ourselves in alignment, really.
That sounds awesome, and that actually segues right into what we're going to talk about.
Right.
You know, because
Right.
I've got some questions down here. We're
Sure.
talking about alignment. We're talking about how you can get yourself into balance,
Right.
And that's what a lot of people want to hear, right?
Right.
How can I get myself? They know the symptoms. Okay, maybe they're feeling tired. They're never rested. They're
Right.
feeling burnt out. You know, they're always playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my first question is, what is it that people can do if they're finding themselves off track, like the points I just mentioned?
Right, right.
What is it people could do if they're finding themselves off track, maybe one or two things, or whatever, I don't know, however you
Right.
have.
Sure.
What is it that you think people can do
Right.
to kind of get back on track
back
if
on
they're
track.
out of alignment?
Right. Well, first of all, I would say they really need to figure out what their true vision is.
Okay.
You know, and I know people have said that before. You know,
Right,
figure
right.
out what your passion is, what your why is.
Right.
But figure out what your vision is, because you have to live intentionally.
Okay,
So living intentionally is living on purpose.
okay,
So what that means is that you have to be in the state of how you want your life to be.
okay,
Right?
I'm with you.
You have to align yourself with the things that go along with your vision.
Right.
And when when we do things and add things to our plate that's not in alignment with our vision, we
Right.
become confused.
Right,
And then a confused mind does nothing, right?
Right. That's exactly
and then
right.
we get derailed.
Right.
So I find that if you ask yourself this question, am I doing this right now, and is it going to get me closer to what my core values are, what my vision is? And if it's not getting you closer to that, or it's not getting you closer to your faith, your family, and or your career, then I would say you need to tell yourself you probably need to stop that. That would be honestly one way. Another way really is living intentionally, like I said.
Right.
I think that, you know, having a goal is actually focusing on gaining something in the here and now. Okay? Goals are gaining something, right? But living intentionally is how you want to focus on the being. Where are you going to be? How are you going to feel when you get there? You know, do you want your family? Do you want the people that you employ? Do you want them looking at you like you're their mentor?
Right.
You know, or do you want them looking at somebody else?
Right. I love that
Plain and
point. You know,
simple.
you made that point. You guys might have missed that. The point was that a goal is something that is about where you're going to go in the future.
Right.
And an intention meditation is about how you're going to be in the present.
Right.
Right? And that's because we live in a society that always wants to have this conversation about what's next and what's
Right.
coming up. And, you know, in all these different ways in sports, they talk about who's going to be number one and what's going to happen next, you know, and all
Right.
of this stuff. And
Right.
that's not really, that's part of what gets people out of balance.
Right.
Okay.
You know, and when you live intentionally, it shifts actually your focus to how you want it to be in the future. You know, it helps you align your thoughts
Right.
and your actions
Right.
to go forward.
Right.
Because if your mind
Right,
is
right.
not in alignment
Right.
with what your true vision is,
Doesn't, yeah.
and your body, okay, which
Right.
means action, is
Right.
not in alignment with that also,
Right. Doesn't make any
You'll-
sense.
no. Mm-mm.
That's
You'll-
awesome. That's awesome. One of the things that, you know, we talked about is this idea of, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's kind of get back to it. Give me I want to have a conversation about living on purpose, because I think a lot of times people, we talk about getting into alignment and
Right.
getting out of alignment, right?
Right.
So we've talked about how people can get into alignment in terms of, you know, doing their thing, and we just touched on that.
Right, right.
How is it that people get out of alignment, and how does this living on purpose concept that you talk about maybe help mitigate that, so that if they feel the wheels coming off the cart a little bit, they can get back on track?
You know, there's several questions that I go over with my clients to really make them, you know, think about what it is that truly is important to them. You know, what are some of the values that they have? What are some of the goals that they have and vision that they have for their family, for their business? And not just in business, but their spiritual life, their
Right.
financial life,
Right.
the emotional life,
Right.
personal growth, all of that.
Right.
And, you know, living on purpose is, again, you have to look at everything you do if it's going to get you to the core result of what you want to do and be in your life.
Right,
Because, you
right.
know, the more that you have, the more you can give, right?
Right, right.
But in order to do that, we have to be more.
Right.
It's not about having more,
Right.
we have to be more.
Right.
And in order to do that, again, living on purpose is living with passion. It's waking up and having that burning, you know,
Right.
desire in your belly. What's going to make you get up out of bed?
Right.
You know, is it because I just have to make a paycheck because I have to pay bills, or I
Right.
have to, you know, pay for my house? I got to do these things,
Right.
or am I going to live on purpose to have a legacy that I'm
Right.
building? And the money that I get from what I do and that type of thing gives me the other choices
Right.
to have these other things in my life that are purposeful,
Right.
meaningful to me.
Right, right. No, you're absolutely right, because I think a lot of times what gets people out of whack is the opposite of living on
Right.
purpose, which is really reaction.
Right, and they're reactive versus being proactive.
Right.
I mean, we've heard that how many
Right,
times
we've talked
before.
about that, right.
We allow other people's emergencies to come into our lives
Right.
and become our
That's
emergency.
exactly right.
I mean, what is that about?
I don't know.
You know, we
I don't
allow people to come to us because, again, if you're really good at something, right, Brian?
Right.
You're going to be asked all the time.
Right.
Well, can you be on that committee? Can
Right.
you do? Can you
Right.
head this up to?
Right.
You know,
Right.
and you feel a lot of times that you have to say yes.
Right,
Because you've got to be out in front of everybody to
Right.
have your name out there, this, that, and the other thing.
That's right.
Where, you know, simply people would learn to scale down
right,
and be able to be in a state of being,
Right.
take care of themselves, and guess what'll happen? They will be able to get more by doing less.
which is counterintuitive, especially in this country.
Absolutely.
You know, that's awesome, Deb.
Absolutely.
I think that's some really good stuff. I know we're going to cover, you know, alignment was what we talked about here today, and I know you've got a bunch of good stuff.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, I know you've got your blog, which
Right.
is debdowdyblog.com.
.com,
Okay. You also have your website,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, which is just debdowdy.com.
Right.
So if people want to be able to take a look at that, they certainly can.
Absolutely.
But you know, I just want to say thanks for swinging on by. And
Thank you.
again, sales and personal empowerment coach Deb Doughty. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.